Manges over on the left, DeCandio on the right. But he is the overall 1 seed, so Manges will be on the play. Has to get through Brennan. Now, one of the cards that we're looking at on Brennan's side is going to be Death's Shadow itself. It's one of the few things that can outsize the Eldrazi.
Yep, you want to get that one online really quickly.
And we start out a pass, wastes and a pass. James is on a 6-card hand. Look at Brennan. That's got to feel pretty good that there was no Tron piece there.
Yeah, it's just wastes, too. It's not even Eldrazi Temple.
Cavern of Souls.
There's no Expedition map.
Great. There is a Cavern of Souls in James's hand, so that can come up. But actually, Brennan's deck was light on counter magic.
You can't stubborn denial Eldrazi creatures anyway, so Cavern of Souls is not coming to play here as much as it does in other matchups. In fact, in the main deck, you're not going to be able to counter creatures. Brennan,
fetch, shock, cycle, cycle. All right, down to 13. Cycle 11. Okay, how far can he go on this? I think he has a Thoughtseize also.
If he has a Shadow, he just wants to play it.
There's the whole set. Cycle Street Wraith down to 9.
I suppose if you have a Thoughtseize, there's an argument for leaving on that, even if you have the Shadow.
To 7. And Chalice of the Void, Dismember, Walking Ballista. Look, you're out of Dismember range already.
Exactly. That's what's nice about the Thoughtseize here, and you can just take the Chalice of the Void, and you're kind of golden.
If your opponent, if you're going to cycle all the Street Wraiths, is it just a guarantee there's a Death Shadow in your hand, or would you do it anyway?
I think you just have to. You're not casting it.
That's what your deck does?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the Walking Ballista in James's hand, that one is troubling from 7.
Okay, it's a 1/1. Let's go back to Brennan. He's at 7. He's got a fetch land in hand. Oh, there he goes. Draws Death's Shadow.
Ooh, that is a good one.
That's a nice draw from this board.
I think he has a Dismember in hand.
No, okay, there's like a limit, Ryan. Okay.
I don't think we want to use that one just yet. That would
go to
just
2.
Take 5. Just dead to any other Walking Ballista.
He has a full 7 cards left. Those cards in the graveyard. I mean, he has a bunch of fuel for a delve threat.
Brennan's just sitting here thinking, do I feel good about my decisions?
I sure got rid of my life points.
I did the thing my deck's trying to do. Was it worth it?
I have never 13'd myself on the first turn of the game. So
yeah, this is like a record.
Can you? This is the maximum, isn't it? That's the most damage it can deal itself in the first turn.
Yes,
it's the literal maximum.
When Gitaxian Probe was legal, you could do it a little more.
You could kill yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. It was possible.
Right.
You did 21 yourself. Here's Death Shadow. Yeah, 7/7 for 1. Nice. Passes. Leaves up that Dismember.
Ooh. And I like that he didn't cast the Dismember because James has drawn a second Walking Ballista.
You just kill him. And here it is. Okay. I don't know about that Dismember anymore.
All right. That one's going to be spent. There's going to be some black mana invested in this Dismember.
Brennan will Thoughtscar himself. Yeah, Thoughtseize. I don't want to cast that anymore.
Yep. Scalding Tarn, no thank you.
Kolaghan's Command. Okay, that might play. Except he has to fetch Shock to make red. And now I'm off it again.
It's pretty scary. But you do put yourself in a spot where 2 hits from the Shadow are lethal.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 7.
If you have Fetch Shock here, you're actually only fading exactly Walking Ballista, if I'm not mistaken. I guess Eldrazi Temple Reality Smasher.
Fourth land. Just put a counter on him.
You use Kolaghan's Command, kill both Walking Ballistas.
Oh, okay, we kill both.
Yeah.
Fetch Shock. Yeah, all right.
He has Steam Vents. He has that option.
He could Shock. He can't Fetch Shock. I want to do it. He's just going to swing. That's so tame.
Boo.
James down to 13.
Brennan DeCandio, you lack courage.
He doesn't have a third one. What are the chances?
Tap Steam Vents. Boo.
Passes. James draws Endbringer.
That one costs twice as much mana.
Yeah, he has Dismember, Endbringer, Thought Not Seer. Nothing he can cast, nothing he can do. I guess, I mean, you can cast the Dismember, but that's bad.
Yeah, that's just going to break even on life.
Yeah, James doesn't have a play here.
I guess you gain 1 life. I apologize.
He can swing both Ballistas. He probably have to decide if he thinks he's going to take 13.
Yeah, Brennan, I suppose the play here, he's paying mine to Reality Smasher, as if he tapped out for Kolaghan's Command and there was a Eldrazi Temple Reality Smasher, that would just be lethal.
And how would that, he'd be able to stop from that now, or would that still kill him?
He has Dismember up now.
Okay. Swing with both Ballistas. Snapcaster Mage flashed into play.
Actually, he'd still just be dead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he's still just dead. Snapcaster blocks Walking Ballista.
Yeah, I guess that's fine.
Okay, that's what's going to happen. Brennan down to 5. Shadow moves up to an 8-8. That's fine. This is a really weird game.
No
I think it
land of any
favors
kind.
Brennan, but this is a weird one. Well, he has a fetch land. No, he can't.
Oh, Brennan has a 4th land. James has no
No,
fourth
Brennan
land.
can fetch down to 2, and then Colligan's command his opponent to kill him. Okay, he's going to put 8. He's going to put James down to 5. Where's the courage here, Ryan?
That's what I'm saying, man.
Eldrazi Temple, James, Thought Knot's here. It's not. If it was Smasher, Brennan had made a mistake. Thought Knot, though. Brennan, I believe he has 2 Colligan's commands.
Still has Dismember, right?
You can't. Oh, you can just pay the full mana for it?
Yeah, look at these 2 black lands and the Steam Vents. Easy.
Yeah. With Thought Knot on the stack, we'll see if he makes that line. Yeah, pays black mana, dismembers Thought Knot. So Brennan will draw and then lose a card, but that should be just fine. Shadow, Colligan's command, opt.
Look at all these cards that are lethal. Would you like to go to game 2?
You can't take both the Colligan's commands, and it's going to kill you. Takes the Death Shadow.
Remove your blocker. Makes you discard a card? I don't know, whatever.
Shatter, destroy an artifact, make you discard.
Get back the Snapcaster Mage? Yeah, that's
Sure.
nice too.
And swings in. And there we go. Game 1. Sure. Dealing 13 to yourself on the first turn. A+. Brennan DeCandio takes the first one.
Yep, and it was just Death Shadow. That's the most important card here. It's the namesake
Well,
of the deck.
when you have that much Street Wraith, Death Shadow's a really good card.
I agree. It was very smart for Brennan to choose to draw those cards.
So, Brennan breaks serve here on the draw. He takes the first game. We're going to have some sideboarded games. James won both sideboarded games to take the semifinals. We'll see if he can do it again when we break down the sideboards in just 1 minute.
Go. Go.
Back here in game number 2, Brennan DeCandio and James Manges. So on Brennan, we'll start on James's side. He did lose the first game. 3 Ratchet Bombs and 3 Warping Whales for some removal. 2 Hangerbacks, 2 Grafdigger's Cage, 2 Relics, 2 Sorcerer's Spyglass, and a Basilisk Collar. I mean, Ratchet Bomb seems good if that's going to happen.
Yes.
So
again, the Death Shadow, the most important card for Brennan. Ratchet Bomb, pretty clean answer to that. So you like that one a good amount. Hangerback Walker can buy you a lot of time. That card is pretty reasonable to have access to here. You have a lot of stuff that hits graveyards. Grafdigger's Cage only interacts with Snapcaster Mage. Don't like it for that reason. The Relic of Progenitus is pretty good in the matchup. And I actually am pretty into Basilisk Caller. Just the lifelink that can be pretty meaningful. Also, if you're able to set up an Endbringer, you can start machine gunning down the large creatures.
So is the idea that the Basilisk Caller is one of the things that can get you past Death Shadow?
You can just kill it with your Walking Ballista and your Endbringers. Yeah, that's kind of the idea of it.
On Brennan's side, he has these Ceremonious Rejections. We saw him use them against teammate Jim Davis's Tron deck. I'm a little more skeptical of them against someone who plays so much Cavern of Souls.
Yeah, Cavern of Souls is a problem. There are 2 copies that can be mapped for. Your Disdainful Stroke is good-ish in the matchup. The card that's excellent in the sideboard that usually is going to be pretty meaningful is Liliana of the Veil.
Yes.
It does not line up against Matter Reshaper. It does not line up against these sideboard Hangerback Walkers, but it does line up pretty well against most of the creatures in the deck.
So going back to those counterspells then, I guess, the Rejections and the Disdainful Stroke, does Brennan even use them against this deck?
I don't think you can just leave Rejection on the sideboard.
Okay. I guess if there is a Cavern of Souls, there still are some cards that can be countered.
Yeah, you still want to counter Chalice of the Void. That's a big one, and there's a couple All Is Dust as well.
And Brennan will be on the draw again. So there was a turn 2 Chalice, I guess, in James's hand last game.
Right.
Brennan just shut it down after the Thoughtseize. And it looks like James again will be going to 6 here.
Good news for Brennan.
He needs to break again, winning on the draw. But this one will be the harder of the 2 games for Brennan.
I imagine that this hand probably isn't as good as his Game 1 hand because his Game 1 hand was insane, and it might have been the best hand I've ever seen.
I mean, it's pretty good. It's the most damage. Like, that's a good hand.
Yeah, James will keep on 6.
All right. So keep on 6 here. Scry to the bottom for James, and this should get us going.
Hopefully something better than basic wastes on turn 1.
Yeah, I mean, he just was never threatening anything above curve. Eldrazi Temple into Relic of Progenitus. That already threatens just with Eldrazi Temple itself.
Yeah, much better start.
Brennan's side, it got Stubborn Denial, looks like in hand, and Thoughtseize. So fetch, shock, Thoughtseize down to 15. He'll see what he's up against. Walking Ballista, Mind Stone, 1 Tron piece. It's Urza's Mine and Cavern of Souls. Just threat light.
The hand like this, I think the Mind Stone is slightly better
Than the Ballista.
Yeah. The Ballista is not going to get big anytime soon.
Yeah, there's no, the mana's all fair.
The Mind Stone being a redraw is arguably just better than the Ballista.
Yeah, James's hand does not do much. I like where Brennan's at. He has another Thoughtseize, to be fair, which is actually could be a dead card.
Yeah. You probably just kind of have to cast it next turn.
Yep, he'll take Mind Stone, leaves Ballista, Cavern, Tron piece. James starts to work away with the Relic, draws Reality Smasher, gets Brennan's other card, and that'll play. Brennan will get to Thoughtseize the Reality Smasher. Interestingly, James did not make Ballista on 1 that turn.
Yeah, he's waiting. He's kind of hoping to make it a little bit bigger.
I think he just wants to crack that Relic.
You also kind of want to check out the texture of the game. See if you actually want to just hang back. Maybe Brennan has trouble dealing damage to himself, but that is not the case.
No, Brennan down to 13 off Thoughtseize, and that Reality Smasher that James drawn is almost certainly going to go away here.
Yeah, that one's definitely just better than the Ballista.
So Brennan has done a great job of controlling the early game. Certainly is ahead, but does he have a threat? We're going to have to see now. If one of his threats is a Gurmag Angler, then this Relic of Progenitus has actually kept him off the board.
He does have a Thought Scour in hand. You can build up a graveyard really quickly and at least force the activation with that.
And this is what can happen. Eldrazi Tron is going to top deck that Thought Knot Seer, and with the Temple, he gets it a turn early. James actually still puts together a good opening.
And off Cavern of Souls, this Ceremonious Rejection into DeCandio's hand, not looking very good.
Yeah. Hard to interact with.
Brennan thinking about Thought Scouring in response. for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, I guess the question is if he thinks that's what's going to get taken. He's going to go ahead and do that fetch. We'll see if it's fetch with shock or without. It looks like fetch shock to 10, Thought Scour himself.
You do want to set up so that if you draw a Death Shadow, it'll be as large or larger than the Thought-Knot Seer. Not quite there just yet. Mills over Polluted Delta and Opt.
Hand, Gurmag Angler, Street Wraith, Ceremonious Rejection, Stubborn Denial. So yeah, that Relic of Regenesis is doing some good work. Because James has it tapped and his land's tapped, I think what Brennan's trying to do here is actually just get that Angler online the very next turn before Relic can work.
I was actually going to say is that the Relic's being a little bit embarrassed here, and you might have to take the Delve threat with the Thought-Knot Seer.
I agree. There are worse things, but you're right. You can't give him that 5/5, especially when your whole plan's built on a 4/4, and that's what James is going to have to do.
Yeah, Brennan would like to find another Delve threat or at least a Death Shadow on this turn. He has to redraw with the Street Wraith, but...
Yeah, just finds another fetch land, so right now he has nothing going on. These reactive cards are just being blanked. Brennan down to 8, draws, finds another land that's not going to play.
That's gross.
Plays land and passes, and he's brought himself all the way down to 8, which means this is actually 2 turns away from being over.
Yep. Also, that Walking Ballista makes things a little bit harder as well.
All right, Brennan down to 4 on the hit.
That one is counterable, though, and James knows it. Probably don't cast that.
Yeah, not into Ceremonious, not when he knows he has it. Can use Relic to take part of Brennan's graveyard. And then he's going to go ahead and sacrifice it just to clear the rest of it away. He doesn't want a top-decked Delve threat to work against him.
Yep.
And a second drawn piece, Power Plant to go with mine. We go back to DeCandio. Right now, he has no way to survive through the turn. He's going to have to draw something.
Yep. Needs an answer. Would like a Death Shadow.
So it looks like thinning out the draw a bit here. And he's doing that during main phase as opposed to end step in case he top decks Fatal Push.
Is this not
perhaps?
end step?
Are we on end step?
Okay,
maybe we are on end step.
I have not seen a card draw yet.
Question whether we're okay. We're on James' end step. Just wondering whether it was upkeep. Colligan's Command the pickup. Well, the graveyard's empty.
Yeah, Thought-Knot Seer has 4 toughness, not 2. It's not an artifact.
Yeah, I don't think he can do it.
It looks like he's out.
Goes over, plays land, passes to James. James draws Tron for what it's worth here, so that's a fine play, but doesn't need it. The swing is going to force game 3. And James, despite a really underwhelming 6, which Brennan picked apart, one of the strengths to these Tron decks is just how well they can play off the top, and James does just that.
Cavern of Souls really did a lot of work in that game, making that Thought-Knot Seer uncounterable. That nothing Brennan could do about that. Didn't have any kind of removal spell, was never able to send a threat. Brennan was able to overpower the Relic of Regenesis, get a big graveyard to cast Gurmag Angler, but the Thought-Knot Seer ripped that out and really couldn't do anything from there. You saw just losing with Ceremonious Rejection and Stubborn Denial in hand. But game 3, Brennan will be on the play. If he can have a hand similar to his game 1 hand, you can definitely see him running away with this one. And player's going to consult sideboards again.
All right, so it's going to come down to one last game here. It's going to be for the trophy. Now, while they cyber, we're going to take a second to tell you about the very next stop we have on the SCG Tour. So that's SCG Worcester. It's going to be coming up here in 2 weeks. Go ahead and make it out, and you too can find yourself in the feature match area.
Playing some Legacy.
Yeah, the Legacy Open each season. That one is one of our more popular events, especially in the New England area.
The Deathrite Shaman format.
Is that fair now? It's not the Brainstorm format, it's the Deathrite Shaman format?
It's disingenuous to call it the Deathrite Shaman format, but that is what I'm going to call it.
All right.
I think it's the Fetch Land format. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
No one plays fetch lands in Modern, see? So Modern's not the fetch land format.
Modern plays fetch lands.
I'm just gonna, for the record, no matter what you answer here, I'm just gonna shoot it down. But go for it.
Okay. That's a good broadcast. I like it when we disagree with each other meaninglessly and don't advance the conversation.
But tell me about how Modern is not the fetch land format.
Well, you see, Serum Visions forces you to fetch before you cast your cantrip. And then you're kind of stuck with some nonsense and you have to draw the card. But Brainstorm lets you fetch after you cast your cantrip, and it's very good.
Might as well not fetch at all in Modern then.
Exactly.
I mean, that's why I play a deck with 29 lands sometimes that has no fetch lands in it.
Yeah, Eldrazi Tron, there's no fetch lands in that deck. No fetch lands there. Brennan's only playing fetches because they deal damage to him.
Yeah, that's a benefit.
Yeah.
Brennan going to be on the play here. Decides he's going to keep with this. And James has not kept a 7 yet. Not going to start. He goes down to 6 on the draw.
Yeah, he was able to win 1 on a 6.
Yeah, and a lot of that's going to put pressure on the top of his deck then.
He can draw a Cavern of Souls.
Sure.
That certainly plays.
And that's definitely did play. You looked at Brennan that hand. He was up cards. Stubborn Denial and Ceremonious Rejection, both just blanked.
That's just the frustrating thing about this matchup is you need to draw the exact right cards. It's kind of the old Magic adage, there's no bad threats, only bad answers. Everything just has to line up really well, and the Eldrazi Tron deck, as long as it's presenting threats, are going to be pretty good.
Yeah, and it was just a 4/4 that ended up taking it down with the Thought-Knot Seer. Now, to be fair, Brennan did more work on his life total than James did. I think James dealt 7 and Brennan dealt 13.
Yeah. But Brennan did even more damage to himself in game 1. That was fine.
Keep on 6, it looks like, for James. He has a Chalice of the Void in his hand. That's not as good on the draw.
No.
A lot of times you see Brennan actually leave the card there.
It's also not as good post-board.
Yeah. Scry to the bottom, and this one is going to be it. Yeah, he's not sure. Goes with it. And here we go, game 3. Brennan starts off just a fetch land, no damage. And much like game 1, it is wastes for James.
Gross.
Yes, Seagate Wreckage is another land.
That one's going to take a while before he's activating.
Brennan does have Thoughtseize in hand, so he is protected against that Chalice of the Void.
Might be looking at Brennan on another 1-lander.
Well, if he has a 1-lander and he opts for the land and misses, and then misses on the draw step, and he could get locked out by Chalice. There's risk here. Down to 17. This is that opt. Ceremonious Rejection, does he want it? If he's thinking about it, I'm guessing he has another land.
Might be buried in the back of the hand here.
Yeah. You know, I don't think he'd be contemplating keeping a 1-lander.
No.
Yeah, he'll take Ceremonious Rejection.
Okay, yep, there is a Watery Grave.
So he will shock for Watery Grave and pass the turn.
Rejection's quite good against Chalice of the Void, no matter what happens.
Yeah, it covers it. And here we see Chalice of the Void. Brennan says, yes, it's countered.
No, thank you.
You absolutely cannot cast that. Looks like another Ceremonious in Brendan's hand.
He does have a fetch land, and I think at least 1 Death Shadow, so he can be online this turn.
Yeah, the fetch land will bring him down to 12, meaning Death Shadow will be a 1/1.
Sometimes you do want to try to outpace Dismember with your shadows. You certainly want to be able to outpace Walking Ballista. You don't want to just be at 12 and cast Shadow. But you also just have to get something on the table. You don't want to give James the opportunity to start making a lot of mana and run away with the game.
Goes down to 12, down to 10, cycling Street Wraith for Brennan. Draws Thoughtseize. This is going to be a big shadow.
Yeah, this is just getting better with every game action.
Down to 8. Ballista, Dismember, Smasher, Seagate Wreckage. This is not a good hand for James. Brennan should be able to beat this.
Yes.
Now,
even with a top deck Temple, he's still 2 turns off of making any smashers.
Yeah, now, is it exactly 8, meaning his shadow's actually not safe yet from Dismember? That might be enough to get him to take the Dismember.
He has a Ceremonious Rejection for the Hangerback Walker. Without 2 discard spells, you can't really look at taking a Reality Smasher.
Yeah, so he'll take the Dismember and then make Death's Shadow. It's a 5/5. Passes. James hoping to get an Eldrazi Temple. Draws an Endbringer. That's not even close.
Nope.
Casts Hangerback Walker on 1. That will buy him some time. And I'll be interested to see James might actually take a hit off Hangerback, but Brennan counters. Ceremonious Rejection, nothing.
When that die moved, I was a little confused,
You're
but
like, no,
I think that's
not
a good
happening.
one to counter.
So here's a swing for 5. James down to 15. Brennan looks like he has a follow-up. I think Tassiger joined.
And James is nowhere near casting all his dust, so a second threat's very good here.
Here is the Golden Fang. Delving away goes Brennan.
Yeah, he can leave a couple things in the graveyard, and looks like just leaving both rejections. Not really going to need an opt. He wouldn't snapcast that. You just kind of want to have access to those. James will make his 4th land, that Seagate Wreckage, but can't cast any of the spells in his hand. Is about to take at least 9 damage.
Here's a swing, James down to 6. And now even drawing the land for Reality Smasher shouldn't do it. Thought Not Seers the draw. James will cast it. He'll take a look. But Dismember in response does Brennan. That's going to remove it.
It's going to seal it.
And then he extends the hand. Brennan, DeCandio takes game 3. He is your Indianapolis champion.